some of the things that Shane Beamer mentioned yesterday. Again, we've heard from several different players on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball as well. But let's start by talking about Shane. And he was mentioning some guys that have stood out to him, maybe in terms of how much bigger they've gotten strength-wise, freshmen that have stood out to him, new guys that are impressing him. So, Jack, who did Shane Beamer mention yesterday?
He mentioned Darius Gray. There were a handful of guys he talked about yesterday, so I'm going to try to mention as many as possible. But he really had some high praise for Darius Gray, who was joining the South Carolina this summer, freshman offensive lineman, highly recruited prospect coming out of high school, like a guy that I think some people think could make an impact on this offensive line, right away potentially. So we'll see if that's the case. But he talked a lot about him yesterday, had strong praise for him after he joined the team. Because, again, he didn't go through spring practice. So he was a guy that joined in the summer. And the work that he's put in, Beamer described as being, quote, elite, and saying that he's been impressive both on and off the field. And it's very easy to see why. He did mention David Busey specifically. And I asked a few of the defense, because we also spoke to the defensive players today. It was offense yesterday with Beamer, and then today was just defensive guys. But asked him, or Beamer spoke about David Busey, who was competing at trying to be one of the starting safeties for South Carolina this year. And he can't remember the exact way he phrased it, but like everything that you want in a player, like David Busey brings to the table in terms of being a guy that just checks off a lot of boxes that you like in terms of the intangibles of what the program stands for. So high praise for David Busey, and that's something that I'm sure, that helps him in terms of being a guy that could potentially earn a spot. But then he spoke a lot about some of the guys who have transformed physically. He made it clear that a lot of veteran guys in this program have taken big steps forward. He mentioned by name Hank Purvis, Tomiwa, as players who have taken significantly changed their bodies. And we heard that from a few guys. I remember talking to Shed Surratt last week, and he was just talking about how he was so much heavier last year, and that really affected his play on the field. Well, he ended up losing a little bit of weight this offseason. I think he said he was down to like 310 now. So about 15 pounds lighter or so, and he hopes that will make a big difference for him. But, he meant, like Beamer mentioned, Hank Purvis has lost some weight. Tomiwa is stronger than he has been at any point in his college career, which this is his 5th year now. So some really high praise for a lot of guys in this program. And he didn't mention any of the freshmen by name, but he besides Darius Gray, of course, he did mention, though, that these are not your typical freshmen. Like, these are guys that have been with the program for a couple months now, but they're very business-like, mature. Like, they are just different in a lot of ways. And, that's kind of the way Beamer just described how things have been going so far this preseason camp. Mature, business-like, efficient, and the work that has been put in since January has, now carried into preseason camp. And, yeah, a lot of high praise to go around for a lot of guys.
Yeah, we keep